I brought my own hecklers. So bear with me. I usually have notes, and then if anybody's come to my class, woo, off she goes. But today I have notes, and I will follow them. So when is the last time that you listened to your body? And I mean, like, really listened to your body. I tell you, your body is really quite smart. It's an amazing machine. It's always, in the very moment, it will always choose to live. And it's always going to do this through this lens of love and compassion, I promise you. Explore that and see what that means. But it will always do that until the very last second when it's time to move on to the next world. But know this, that your body is choosing to live in every moment. And this goes with the evolution of humanity. This is part of foundational scientific thinking, that the body chooses to live. The body needs to do what it can in order to pass on the genetic code to have babies, grandbabies, and pass on, right? This is the scientific way of seeing things. And I think this falls under that umbrella for sure. But in this, and the way that your body speaks, we're going to get into today. And my question again is, are you listening? So I'm going to tell you a secret. Every symptom you have, every ache, every pain, every body creak, even illnesses or diagnoses or diseases that you have, are a way that your body is speaking. There's something that needs to be heard. And the body, this is how she's talking, and she's asking to be heard. And this is really how the body speaks. But are you listening? Are you fiercely listening? Now, in today's talk, I propose that this is actually the first step in actually supporting health challenges, this act of fierce listening. We'll get into it. You'll know what I mean in a second. But I want to take that one step further as well. I think the way that your body speaks is actually through the lens of love and compassion. So I want you to think right now about one way that your body's talking to you right now. And if you wish, you can follow along CJ's lovely meditation. And I invite you to close your eyes if it works better for you. Leave them open. I leave it to you. But I want you to think of one way that your body is speaking to you. It can be right now, today. It can be maybe a chronic pain issue. It could be something that's been around for a long time. Maybe it's something that just showed up today. Maybe it's your shoulders out. Maybe it's a part of your own health journey or something that you've been struggling with for a really long time. Maybe it's a diagnosis. It could be physical. It can be a mental or emotional thing. So zero in on this and pinpoint something and just identify it. You don't have to label it. You don't have to figure out anything. You don't have to assign some way to fix it. You don't have to know why it showed up. Why me? Oh, no, we don't have to answer that question. It's not that complicated. Just see it. Just see it to see it. Just notice it. And so now I want you, take it a step further, let go of any expectation of treating this way that your body's speaking as if it's a question, that it needs an answer. Let go of having to find the answer. You don't have to find the answer. Forget about having to identify the why behind it. You don't need to know when it started. Strip everything away from the way that your body is speaking to you. Strip everything away from this message, other than just hearing the message. This is actually what I mean by fierce listening. So fierce listening is a turn of phrase that I heard while I was listening to the radio one night. It was playing in the background, making dinner, shoving things in a pot. And Joshua Whitehead's an author is being interviewed on the radio, and this sentence jumps out at me: fierce listening. Whoa, fierce listening. Oh my God, that's so good. So I wish I came up with one. Okay, well, I'm not that clever. It's cool. Now, his exploration of fierce listening came from, he was talking about, when he was writing his book, his grandmother had recently passed away. And he was talking about, in her passing, had he spent enough time with her to listen, really listen to her stories? As he grew up in a matrilineal home and lots of aunties and mums and grandmas, And in her passing were going her stories, her observations, her theories, and her wisdom, if you will, and the stories that she got from those who came before. And now she had died, and had Joshua hung on to the stories? Did he hear them? And he thought, it's 2018 or 2019 now, of course. We've changed how we listen. We listen with the intention of inserting ourselves into the story, making that story ours. Or we listen with the intention of giving an answer, finding a solution. Good, okay, great, we've done that, great. Okay, next. And this is how we approach listening. We've lost the art of fierce listening. Listening just to listen. So I go down that path, as I want to do. And I start thinking, I practice holistic nutrition. Where would that fit in with what I do? Bing! I get hit in my face by myself all day long. So, how the body speaks, right? Okay. So, I'm going to take you on a little journey. Here comes little Luka. I was really cute. And at the age of 3, I told everybody who came to my lovely sister's baptism, I was like, hi, it's my sister's baptism. I'm pretty, aren't I? And I would take their coat and put it away. So super cute, really, I'm sure I was a lovely kid, because I have a lovely kid myself, and what kid is not lovely? Trucking along, and along comes 12 years old, and asthma comes. And then I graduate to 14, and I'm anorexic. 15, period is so terrible. My menstrual cycle is a mess. 2 days a month off. Can't participate in life. 18, carpal tunnel, chronic pain issues. 20, anxiety. 21, depression. 22, OCD, PTSD, bipolar. 26, H. pylori and ulcers. 30, dried skin, eczema, and anxiety, and blood sugar uncontrollable cravings. 35, fertility issues. Chronic pain through all of this, now looking at knee replacement surgery, blah, 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 blah. So now I'm 45, so I'm over there, right? 45 is the new 29. Let's go. I don't know. And so through all of these years, I would dare say all of these signposts along the way was the body speaking. So I'll just take one example just to clarify what I'm thinking and to make my point, I suppose. So 14-year-old Luka, I wish I had a picture. See all these super savvy people with their technology? Close your eyes, imagine. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I was a looker. Anyway, 14-year-old me, anorexic, right? Okay, so, and I worked on it, don't worry, I'm fine. So, okay. And apologies, trigger warning if this is going to things for you, sorry. Anyway, 14-year-old me, so I'm looking at her, right? And I think back, as I'm thinking of this fierce listening thing, I'm looking back and I'm thinking, oh yeah, there's 14-year-old Luka. And I'm looking at her like this and I think, oh yeah. Oh, the medical establishment would say, oh, anorexia. Well, that's children who show up with anorexia are children who feel they've lost control. And children can control food that comes in and what comes out. So was she maybe exerting some sort of control? Did she feel out of control? Yeah, sure. There was a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if you know any 14-year-olds in your life. It's a little out of, I have a 13-and-a-half-year-old. Yeah. She's also my favorite person in the world, so it's fine. And stop it, Luka. Anyway, so 14 is difficult, right? I think everybody would agree with me. 14 is really tricky. And girls, I was a girl, it's hard for girls. So 14-year-old me with anorexia, right? And so as I'm looking back at my 14-year-old self, I have those, well, I must have felt like I was out of control. Life was hard. Life was difficult. Okay, let's pick her up and let's keep going. And then there's the 15 and the 18 and the 22. And little 14-year-old Luka's in all these pictures, right? I'm carrying her along. God, I feel like I'm from the East Coast, Dave. Anyway. So I'm carrying 14-year-old Luka through all of these stages, right? And so the act of fierce listening, how would that be different? So going back to 14-year-old Luka, and instead of looking at her from this point of view, Oh, it must be self-sabotage. She must be mad at herself, mad at the world. She must really, truly, deeply hate herself. She must have all of these terrible, negative, awful things. Oh yeah, I carried those too. So instead of looking at it from that lens, why don't we look at it from just behind, taking away all of those concepts, all of those lenses that everybody else had put on, because when you're 14, you're super hearing everything everybody says, right? So take those out and just look to look. Just identify it. Take away all of the answers, the need for answers, all this stuff. 14-year-old Luka, she's anorexic. Me. What if we come on this side and we look at it through the lens of love and compassion? Does it change? Oh yeah. So for 5 years ago, I thought, all right, working in the arts sucks in the downturn of economy. I need work again. So I went back to school for nutrition. And in my studies, the topic of anorexia comes up. And of course, I'm like, what? Paying attention. And there's a correlation. When there's an eating disorder, there's a correlation that there is a deficiency in zinc, which is interesting. So mull that over, zinc, 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 zinc. Right? It's not really that violent in my head. It's more like, oh, that's so cool. Anyway, so zinc is a deficiency that is zinc deficiency is correlated with anorexia. Okay, well that's kind of cool. Well, what does that mean? Zinc, yeah, you need it for lots of things. Oh, you need zinc to make hydrochloric acid. I know there's lots of holistic nutrition practitioners in the crowd today, so bear with me for a second. Zinc is needed to make hydrochloric acid. This is gut 101, right? Okay. Hydrochloric acid is made in your stomach. What it does, it's the acids, it's the stomach acid, right? And its purpose is to bring your pH down to the right level so that you can turn on something called enzymes. And enzymes are your chemical breakdown. They're like chemical scissors that break down food. And predominantly in the stomach, it's protein. Do you know where zinc is found? Predominantly in protein. Zinc is typically found in protein. So these are all little bits where you're like, what? What? I can't see the puzzle picture yet, Luka. Wait. Anyway, it's not that exciting. Anyway, so hydrochloric acid brings that pH down level low enough so that, whoop, the scissors get turned on. Because, my friend, if you were on all the time, you would self-digest because you're made of protein. So what a brilliant design. P.S. You're the best machine ever, as Jeffrey says. Best design ever. All right, so that's awesome. So when does that happen? Well, when you make hydrochloric acid, whoop, the pH goes down, and on go the scissors. Great work. Here comes the steak. Maybe some pumpkin seeds. Like, yeah, good work, body. Awesome. Well, what happens in the picture of, say, a 14-year-old girl who is zinc deficient, perhaps? Well, instead of making enough hydrochloric acid, say, to turn on 10,000 scissors, not that this is an exact number, I'm just for argument's sake, instead of having your 10,000 scissors, now you have 5,000. Because you don't have enough zinc to make hydrochloric acid. So you can't bring that pH down low enough. You can't turn on all the scissors, just a few of them. So what if, through that lens of love and compassion, my 14-year-old gorgeous bod says, oh, Luka, hang on, I don't have zinc. I can't make hydrochloric acid. Do you mind taking a break from eating right now? Because I can't even break it down right now. And I know that food that doesn't get broken down into the smallest component is actually the biggest contributor to inflammation. Wait a second. What if you take a break from eating? I'll put a little bit more energy into that repair so we can get that zinc factory going again. I can't even get the zinc from the food you're eating. What if that's the impetus behind 14-year-old anorexic me who can't get enough zinc from my food? So my body goes, hang on, wait a second. What if that was the impetus? Oh my God, I'm smart. I'm not full of hate. I'm not full of love. It's not war. It's love. Oh my God. So before the idea of fierce listening, this is one of the things that was a big, big gift for me after graduating from CSNN, is that rabbit hole I went down, realizing the zinc deficiency piece. And the crazy thing, I felt like I had carried this 14-year-old